welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all. Get on in here. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You are now in the den. So, guys, child, this is freaking Sisters we are here to talk about. And I'm so, baby, this is my review recap of Tyler Perry Sisters Truth Hurts Season 5, Episode 19. Y'all, I'm sick of it. I probably say this every time I do a damn review, but I was not here for this at all. There was a lot of people that was pissing me off, a lot of things that just was not sitting right with my daggone spirit. I was happy that Andi gave the breakdown that should have been gave, okay, and let Karen know that Fatima is my friend and you're my friend too, okay, and certain stuff I'm just not going to share back and forth between y'all as far as whatever things that may go on pertaining to Zach. Okay, and you cannot tell me who I can be friends with and who I can't be friends with. And the fact that you're telling me that I was never a friend to you after all the time that we have been friends says a whole damn lot. And if you feel that way, then that makes me really sad and maybe we need to rethink damn things, okay? On the other hand, you know, Fatima and her have this nice, nasty moment, this back and forth conversation that I really felt like did not need to be damn had, okay? They both was acting the same way, to be quite honest, and giving back and forth the same type of energy. And I thought that that was a moment that Andi should have stepped in, actually, and been like, oh, okay, hold up. If she's saying that she didn't do that, then no, she wouldn't or whatever, whereas she just stood there and then watched them go back and forth, you know? Now, Sabrina, girl, all of a sudden Dale calling you up talking about he gonna come over. He got a few more questions and he may want to give up this cheddar for Maurice. You know, she running boo-hooing, crying, telling, you know, Calvin he gotta go. He over here in the bed. Of course, he getting jealous and then he's saying, you know, what are you gonna do for this money? What would make him change his mind? What is he gonna want in return? Now, it might not have been right the way that he said it, and yeah, he getting jealous, and I'm glad you let him know, like, we are not together. I don't owe you nothing. But baby, I got the same question he do. I'm not even gonna lie. In the meantime, you know, we got that going. Danni, why was Danni in the bed with Q? Child, I'm over it. That made me sick to my damn stomach. I said, please let Sabrina come in here and find out who the hell he is. Finally stop dragging this damn story and kick his behind right the hell up out of there and tell damn going, you know, Danni, who she done went and laid in the damn bed with. Y'all, let's go ahead and get into this episode. So we started out the episode right where we left off, you know what I'm saying, with Miss Karen getting off the elevator, talking about, oh, really, you know what I'm saying, oh, tell me more, I want to hear. And Andi is basically like, girl, what you doing here? You don't have the right to pop up at my damn house, even though you have the key, okay, after kicking me out of yours. And she was 110% right. She's like, you know, what did you come here for? And Karen was like, well, actually, I was coming to give you an apology. She said, well, good, because I damn sure deserve one. You was wrong. You know, you owe me that. And Karen was basically like, well, no, I don't owe it to you, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Now, Karen, you know, Karen being Karen. Okay. And so she's basically like, you know, the way you attack me in your home or whatever, that's what Andi is saying. She was like, I didn't deserve that. I always have your back. And Karen says, no, you don't. And she was like, well, it makes me very sad, you know what I'm saying, that you feel that way. And so, you know, she was like, I'm really upset right now. And, you know, Andi told her, it's the time for me to be upset or whatever, right? And I have every right. And so Fatima actually was like, I'm going to go. And Andi was like, no, you're not. You staying right here. And Andi said, I'm sick of this shit. Okay, I'm over it. I'm done. This is going to end today. She was like, you know, you are my friend, Andi, and Fatima is my friend as well. You know, she says you are my friend to both of them. And she was basically saying she should not have to choose. And I agree with her. She was like, you know, I can have friendships with both of you. Okay. And so she just was basically letting you know, Andi was letting Karen know I would never betray you. And she over here talking about what you did. She said no. She was like, I did not tell you about something that I did not know about or whatever the case may be. Because Fatima was like, what exactly is going on here? And she was like, you know, I'm not going to get into the middle of whatever was happening with you and Zach. And so she was like, I didn't know he was going to come there to the restaurant and do all of that kind of stuff that he did. And so, you know, at this point, she still, you know, lets Karen know she was wrong for the way that she treated her. And she says, yeah, well, Andi, a lot of things is wrong, okay? A whole lot. And so, basically, you know, Fatima is saying, well, you know, what happened was, I don't understand. And she was like, oh, yeah, she decided to kick me out of her home, you know. And so she told her, Of course, Karen is still trying to insinuate that Andi did know and didn't tell her whatever. And she's like, no, it was none of my business, number one. And number two, I didn't know that all of that stuff was going to happen. And so when Fatima's like, well, somebody sent it to me, she was like, the reason why she didn't tell you is because I was upset about it. And so she's like, okay. And she was like, well, I'm not the one that sent it. And Fatima was like, I don't know that you're not the one that sent it. And Karen was like, well, because I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? So they both was kind of basically coming back and forth, giving the same energy, like I said, to each other. And she said, well, Fatima says, well, Zach seems to think you did. And she was like, yeah, well, I didn't. He could think all he want to think or whatever, and I would never do something like that. And I said that, I said what I said, basically, and that's that on that. I'm not going to continue to keep, going back and forth. She was basically like, Fatima, I said my piece. And Fatima was like, yeah, and I said mine. She was like, yeah, okay, well, trust, I moved on. And Fatima's like, have you? She was like, then why was you kissing Zach? She was like, okay, well, first of all, you know what? Okay, Karen, says this. She's like, I kissed him, and I didn't kiss him on the mouth. I kissed him on the cheek and gave a hug to my damn baby father. Of course, Fatima rolls her eyes when she said that. And so she's like, you really want to know? And Fatima's basically like, I asked. And she was like, well, it was a genuine kiss because I was happy that we finally settled things or whatever the case may be. And he was offering, the child support. She was like, but I'm moving on with Aaron and I'm happy with him or whatever. So at this point, Fatima's saying that she's going to go home and talk to Zach. And she's like, okay, fine. Yes, make sure that you do that. And she tells her to call her later. So then Andi and Karen is just still standing there, whatever, after Fatima leaves. And she's basically like, they just doing this standoff. And then Karen goes, like I said earlier, I'm sorry. And then Andi was like, I'm sure. And so she was like, you're going to get over it. Or, you know what I mean? And then Andi is basically like, yeah. And then she goes, well, because I know you tend to act, different and whatever the case may be and hold on to things. And she was like, no, I'm going to get over it. And Karen was like, good. She was like, now I'm going to go to the salon and then I'm going home. So she's like, okay. And she was like, yeah, because I snuck out after Aaron fell asleep. So she basically was like, oh, really? You know what I'm saying? I see. They always got to put that I see in there. And so basically, she just was saying that she don't even care about this shit no more, okay? Child, Karen, I really do hope that you don't care about it no more because, baby, we tired, all right? We are all tired. If everybody could move on with their damn life, that would be great, all right? And then she lets Andi know that she loves her, and Andy's like, yeah, I know. And so she was like, okay. So, you know what I'm saying? She went on and took her behind home and was like, I'll see you tomorrow. Now, in the meantime, we basically then, went to, freaking Gary calling Hayden behind up, right? And he's telling him like, oh, I found out, who it was and what account it went into. And Hayden basically tells him like, wait a minute, that name is familiar. I know that person. He was like, he's into, big time, loan shark and into the gambling and, type of gangster world or whatever. And he was like, just so happened he know his brother and maybe he could talk to him, right? And that he's a client of theirs. And so he's like, are you kidding me? And he was like, well, wait, then that means that more than likely Andi is the one that gave him the information in order for him to be able to get the money. And so he's like, nah, she wouldn't do nothing like that. And he like, nah, it gotta be her. You know what I'm saying? Who else could it be? So Gary was saying, do you think that he could get him to resend the money? And he was like, I don't know. He was like, do you realize how much interest that Robin could be paying? And, Gary was basically saying, like, I can't believe she did this. And Hayden was saying, yeah, she did it. And then Gary was still going, no, she didn't. And so he was like, well, why don't you call her and ask her? He's like, no, I'm not going to call her and ask her that. He was like, yeah, exactly, because you already know that she did it. So he was like, well, I guess she wants him here if she did that. And then Gary's like, wait, hold on. Why would she want him there? He was like, nah, she definitely wants him there. He was like, you know what? I'll talk to you tomorrow. And he gets mad and he hangs up the phone on Hayden. So he calls up Andi and he's like, what are you doing? And she's saying that she was just about to get in bed or whatever, right? And so he's like, I'm on my way over. And she's like, no matter of fact, he said, can I see you? All right. He did try to play it off like he was asking. And then she was like, I don't know about all of that, Gary. I got to get up in the morning. And he's like, yeah, but I really want to see you. I know you want to see me. You want to see me. So then he's like, I'm on my way. And she just falls for it in 2 damn seconds. Typical damn Andi. And he says, he will see her soon. So she was like, all right. Now, moving on from there, we basically had, you know, Fatima finally come home, and Zach was basically waiting for her on the damn couch, okay? He didn't even go upstairs to the bedroom. And he's going up to her, excuse me, apologizing to her, whatever. And this part kind of pissed me off because, yeah, Zach was out of line. He let his temper get crazy or whatever the case may be. But Fatima does that as well. And she, like he says, she would basically be like, oh, get out my way. Know when I'm mad and you need to move in that whole song and dance or whatever. But when Zach does it, you can't give him that space and you want to hold a grudge against him. And when he said, you're not going to tell me what to do in my house. The way that he meant it, and he didn't mean it in terms of, trying to make you feel like it wasn't your house as well, or like he wanted you to leave permanently or whatever. She's sitting here telling him she just came to get her clothes, and he's like, please, no, don't do that. He was like, the saying, don't go to bed mad. And she's talking about whoever made up that saying is stupid. It don't work that way. And then he's like, okay, well, then both of us go to bed mad. She telling him, oh, well, you don't got nothing to be mad about. And then he's basically like, well, then let me be, go to bed happy and you go to bed mad. He's just trying to say it every which way he can. And he just keeps apologizing. And so, he's asking her to stay. And she's like, the only way I'll stay is if you going to be on the couch. At this point, he's just giving in. He want her to stay. So he's like, all right. And then, he's like, if you need time, I'll respect it. I'll give you all the time that you do. I'm really serious. I really am sorry. And so she's like, good. And he was like, we on good terms now? She's like, yeah. So, of course, he's still talking about, at any point, if you want me to come upstairs, just let me know. And she's like, Zach. And he's like, all right, I love you. So now he's sleeping on the couch and she's back upstairs in the room. And she ain't apologized not once for her coming out of her damn face. So I'm like, okay, girl. Now, moving on from that, Karen is getting home, and I was a little confused as whether this was supposed to be the same day or the next day. I think it's the new day because she had on something different, and Aaron was in the kitchen cooking up, breakfast, and basically she's telling him she can't even eat the breakfast that he made because she's feeling sick. And he's like, oh, is that normal? Is that natural? Are you supposed to be feeling that way? Are you okay? She's basically saying, yeah, she'll go ahead and get a smoothie later. And he's like, I could fix you a smoothie. Poor Aaron, child. He done got his behind kicked and been dissed I don't know how many times. And it's like he's still sitting here trying to treat her good and be there for her. And she's still apologizing for the whole fight that he got into with Zach. And he's like, you don't have to say sorry for that. And then she's basically also just saying, like, you take such good care of me. And, thank you for looking out for me the way that you do. And so when he was saying he could make her a smoothie, she was like, now I'll get one by the job later or whatever have you. And he's like, okay. She was just basically drinking on some tea or whatever. And so she's asking him, she does mention that she has saw Fatima and that she also did apologize to Andi. He's like, well, good on the apology to Andi. And how was that what you see in Fatima? He said, it was, what I'm saying? And so she's like, well, are you going to be going to the court later? And he was like, basketball court or whatever. And he was like, it's a possibility. Oh, well, you may see Zach there and be careful. And he's like, what do you mean be careful? Why, why would you say that? Oh, he have a tendency to hold on to things when he get it stuck in his head or whatever the case may be. So just please be careful. She just keeps telling him to be careful. So I'm like, I hope it ain't going to be no more fights between him and Zach because I just really don't want to see that. And I don't understand what the point of them continuously fighting would be. Now, moving on from that, we basically get Bayo calling them, Sabrina asked and saying he's going to be on his way. She asking him how long will it take. And he was like, it shouldn't be long. And she said, well, give her about 30 minutes because she want to go ahead and kick Calvin out the damn house to be able to let him come over. So he says, okay, that sounds good. He'll be there then because he was telling her he wanted to talk to her a little bit more about this money that she was asking for. And, he has some more questions. So she go in the room and she's telling Calvin, like, hey, he all smiling and getting up and stuff. She was like, I need to talk to you. And he like, okay. she was like, Bayo just called. So he like, okay. And she's basically like, he's on his way over here. So he like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I see. And so she's basically like, Calvin, don't be like that. And he was like, no, I guess I'll just go. So she was like, we're not together. And he was like, I know that. But at the same time, the situation that went down with me and him at the restaurant and how disrespectful he was. And then you still just going to sit here, and be cool with him and have him coming over here. And so she basically was like, well, number one, I like him. And number two, he actually is saying that he may possibly be able to have, help Maurice. That's the reason why he coming over here. He was saying that he has some more questions for me. So he's like, oh, okay. He was like, you really think that he will help you? And she's like, well, that's what I want to find out. We have to do anything we can to help, any way that we can or whatever. I want Maurice out of there. And so he was like, but what are you going to have to do to get this up? And she was like, excuse me, what are you trying to say? What do you mean? What are you insinuating? And so then he apologizes for saying it. But like I said, I got the same questions too. Nothing is free, and free shit will kill you, girl. All right? Let me let you know. And so she's basically just still trying to tell him that this is all for Maurice and they have to do anything they can to help him. And he's like, you're right. You know what I'm saying? He go ahead and leave. He ends up telling her he's sorry and giving her a little kissy kiss before he go. So now we basically get to, daggone Bayo coming over and talking to her, whatever, right? And I never really seen him get into the daggone questions too much. I don't know how much questions he was supposed to have, but he basically, gets there and, it's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Or whatever the case may be, little small talk, whatever have you. And then, he's basically like, well, this is a really good friend of yours, and you trust him certain and all of this kind of stuff. And she's like, yeah. And then he was like, he won't run or whatever. And she's like, no, I promise. And so he basically says, okay, he was like, and this will help him out. And she says, yeah. And so he was like, all right, then I will do it. Like, for you. And so she's like, really? And gets all emotional. Really? Oh my God. And the tears just start streaming down, And so he was like, but what do we have to do? How do we make this happen or whatever? And she's like, thank you, all grabbing him and hugging him. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, right? And he's saying, oh, it's okay, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, of course. And so she's basically like, oh my God, and picks up the phone to go ahead and call, Andi and tell her, because he was like, what do we have to do? And she was like, I don't know, let me find out, And he's saying he happy to do it. And she was like, I have to call my friend, my lawyer friend, and I'm going to call her now. And he's like, okay. And mind you, he's like, he also wants to be able to meet this friend that he put in all this money up for. And she was like, of course you're going to be able to meet him. So she go ahead and call up Andi or whatever. And Andi is basically like, oh, hey, Sabrina. And she's like, hey, girl. She was like, Andi is telling her I don't have any other information on Maurice right now. And she was like, oh, no, it don't matter. Wait, hold on. I have wonderful news or whatever. My wonderful friend here is going to go ahead and help me out. He's willing to put up the money. And she was like, your friend is going to give you $1.5 million. She's like, yes, 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 he will. She's shocked. And she's like, oh, okay, great. So Sabrina's basically like, just tell us what we need to do. And she was like, well, text me his number and I'll have someone get all the information to him later. And she was like, can I send her your number? And Bayo says, yeah. She's like, okay, I'm going to do it in a minute. So, Andi's like, all right, cool. So she's like, thank you, Andi. Then Andi, before they hanging up, because she still was like, how long will it be before he'll be out? And she was like, I'm headed to the office now and I'll tell you when I get there. So she like, Sabrina, who is this friend? Oh, it's amazing. She was like, oh, I see, you can't talk right now. So Sabrina's like, no. She's like, all right. So, of course, she going to catch up with her later and find out, who is this friend you getting $1.5 million. And in the meantime, she going to get everything together and call her later. So when she hang up the phone, Bayo talking about some, can I take you out for something to eat? She's still saying thank you or whatever. And he's like, I'm happy to do it. All of a sudden, you just happy to do it just like that. So she's telling him she's going to send her all the information or whatever the case may be. And so, like I said, he mentions taking her out to lunch or whatever. And he was saying, anything for you, Sabrina. And so, I'm sorry, not lunch, breakfast. And she's like, of course, of course, of course. Like, he said, she says, I want to buy you breakfast. Let me, get my purse. And he's like, no, let me take, let me pay for it. He was like, I'm not going to let you spend a dime. And she was like, well, you taking the words out of my mouth. I don't feel like you should be spending anything else. And she was like, I know I look a little crazy right now, but come on, let's go. And he says he gonna take her to his favorite spot. So she was like, you want me to drive? He's talking about, no, I'm gonna drive. Now, I ain't even gonna lie. I thought Sabrina was still wearing her damn pajamas. I didn't know that was supposed to be an outfit, but apparently it was. And they went ahead out to eat. So then we see that Gary, of course, is still there with Andi. He come out. They saying good morning or whatever. And so he's like, wow, you look great. And she's like, thank you. She's like, you don't look too bad yourself. And so he's like, how we look good together, right? We a perfect couple. We both look great. And she was like, yeah, there's no denying that. I can agree with that. And so basically, here he go, oh, I love you so much. And she like, you do? And he was like, what? He was like, you know that I do. She was like, yeah, okay, maybe I do. They smiling and cheesing each other face or whatever have you. And so then he's basically like, just so you know, so you're not caught off guard, I'm going to be at your office today. So she's like, oh, really? You will? And then he's like, yeah. He's basically like, because she just still continues to put on her jacket and get ready. And he was like, you ain't got to act like you don't know. So she was like, why would I know that? And he was like, well, I already know that you know, and I'm meeting your boss today. So she's like, what? And he's like, okay. He was like, I know that you know about the shareholders and that you made him do the call or whatever. And don't try to cover for him. So she basically was like, he told her he know about the loan shark clients and all of that. And so he says, it's fine. He was like, I see you. So she basically is like, because he was saying, just so you know, it's not going to work. He is going to lose the business. So she tells him, why is this so important to you? And of course, he's talking about, because I don't want him anywhere near you. I want him to go back to London or wherever he came from. I don't want him to be around. And she like, oh, really? You know what I'm saying? It's like that, as if she don't know. And as if this don't make you freaking sick to your stomach, that this man is trying to control who you could be around and stuff like that. Child, anyway. So basically she was like, what happened to the confident man that you're supposed to be? And he's saying that it's still there. He's still there, okay? So she said, well, I don't want to talk about any business like that with you if that's okay. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah. She said, but I will say this. He is my boss. And at the end of the day, I'm very close to reaching partner, whatever the case may be. And with you coming in and shifting things around, that makes it harder for me, and that puts a hold on me being able to come partner. It basically pushes it further away. And so he's like, oh, so you've been doing all of this so you could play me. He got the nerve. And then she gonna talk about some, I'm protecting my interests or whatever the case may be. And so he was like, I see that. And so, she was like, Gary, and he's like, she's like, you're not the only one that can make moves in business. I said, child, whatever, And he talking about something, I see you, I see you. So I don't know if that's going to make any difference to him or not. I doubt it very much, because just like she said, he a damn slime, and she know all the different things he's already done to her. So why would this be any damn different, But he says, I guess I could go ahead and you go, and whatever the case may be. And, he talking about some getting his bag to move in, and she's like, no, it's just one bag. And, she says, come on, she got to go to work. So I said, girl, you playing a real dangerous game, Auntie, but you like it, honey. I guess if you like it, I love it, whatever. Now, moving on from that, we, basically had Maurice call Calvin, and Maurice, you be irking my nerves too. He calls and he's like, yeah, bitch, what's going on or whatever. He always talk with this type of thing, just, the way Maurice talks, but it's as if everybody and their mother owe him, and it's all their fault that he's in the situation that he's in. And it's really not, it's his own damn fault. But I will say that, and I say this every time, we don't forget that Calvin was telling him to let Q stay there too. But you the one that still fell into the traps and was having him around at the end of the day, Maurice. And so basically, he was telling him like, well, I don't want to get your, hopes up or whatever. But he was like, Sabrina's meeting with that African dude. Okay, that African dude. I said, you ain't have to say African dude. And so he's like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. He was like, it may be a chance that he could be giving him the money. And then he's like, giving her the money. And then he's like, what? He was like, are you serious? He was like, well, why would he do that? At the same time, he happy about it. But he's like, thinking what we all thinking. Ain't nothing in life gonna just be free like that, right? And so he's like, oh, she, screwing him, isn't she, right? And so, of course, Calvin don't want to hear that. And he put down the damn, phone for a minute or whatever the case may be, and then put it back to his ear. And so Maurice is basically like, he's just like Maurice. And then Maurice is like, oh. So he's like, well, anyway, Calvin told me this. He was like, what about the vibrator? He was like, are you really doing this right now? And then he's like, okay, I'm sorry. He's like, anyway, she's with him now. Calvin tells him that. And he was like, she says she will call when she knows something. So he says, well, should I call her? And then Calvin was telling him, no, 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 just wait. And so he was like, Calvin, that's all I could do in jail is wait. I don't got no damn choice. He said, well, call him back in about an hour or so. So he said, well, he hopes he comes through. And Calvin was saying, yeah, me too. And so then he's like, Calvin, wait. And Calvin is like, what? And he was like, I wanted to let you know they put this cute man in my cell. And, Calvin is like, did they? And Maurice is like, yes, indeed. And so, Calvin just tells him, be careful. And he was like, what does that mean? He was like, I means that you're a sucker for a handsome face. And so, Maurice talking about something, no, I ain't a sucker. He was like, well, just be careful anyway. So Maurice is like, I got this. I know what to do. And he's like, all right, man. He was like, just call me in an hour and I'll let you know. And he says, all right. And then they hang up the phone. And I said, yes, please be careful because I feel like they planted that man in Maurice damn cell. And it would annoy the hell out of me if some kind of way the guy get him to say something in the midst of damn Sabrina and them trying to get him out. And then it be some other mix, okay? So now Fatima comes down. Zach is telling her that he made her coffee. And, of course, he's saying, y'all, you ready to talk? And she's saying, I am. And, he's basically like, still just wanting to talk about last night. Still want to apologize. She's saying she over it. There's nothing to talk about. And he was like, she's still giving attitude. What is it, Zach? And he's like, don't avoid me. She was like, I'm not avoiding you. And he's like, yes, you are. He was like, I know I messed up yesterday or whatever the case may be. Okay, I did. I admit that I was mad. I hurt you or whatever the case may be. And she's like, and he was like, and I promise that I'll never do that again and that I'll try harder and I'll be better. You know what I'm saying? And he try to be better even when I'm mad. And so she's just like, that's good. It's like still nothing is coming out of her mouth saying, okay, well, I apologize for me coming out. I apologize for me accusing you. I apologize for me jumping to conclusions. Even with the way that Fatima character usually is, you would think that she would have already been calling up Angela and saying, okay, who is this mystery woman that took this picture? Let's get down to the bottom of this. If it's bothering you so much and you wanted to direct your anger or your frustration somewhere, that would have been a damn nice place to start. It's like none of that is happening. And, she's still waiting for him to say more. And what she was saying, I know I made you feel bad and I never would want to do that. I know that I made you feel like we weren't in this together. And I would do anything to make sure that you are not feeling that way. And that's the worst part is that I made you feel like this is not your house and it is your house. He was like, we could go today and sign your damn name on the deed or whatever, right? And everything that he's saying, she going, you did, and busy sipping on her damn tea, coffee, whatever it was in between. And so, he's basically doing all this damn apologizing and saying, look at me and I really mean it and all of that and don't roll your eyes. He's like, I'm being serious or whatever, right? Because he was like, none of this works for me without you. Not any of it. I don't care about any of this stuff. And so she was like, I don't need a deed in my name or whatever. And I just need you to never treat me that way again. And so he was like, I promise you I won't. I swear. And so she's basically like, okay. So in the midst of that, he's trying to talk to her and the phone rings and she's like, excuse me for a minute. I need to take this. And she go ahead and take the call and she's like, okay, great, thanks. So when she hang up, She's like, have you heard from Heather? He like, no, I don't want to hear from her, and I don't need to speak to her. I already had enough damn aggravations going on. So she's like, well, you gonna be hearing from her. And he's like, why you say that? She's like, oh, because, you know what I'm saying, the girl that I put on him, and she's just that good. She got damn Hayden, wrapped around her finger, whatever the case may be. And she's about to put on a whole big show, go off and, act like she's crazy jealous when Heather comes in to see him and gonna make him drop the case. And he's like, you think she just gonna drop it just like that? And she was like, yep, she is. So she'll be calling you, you know what I'm saying, after that to try to make some kind of arrangement with you, because he's not gonna be the one to, basically be the lawyer for her anymore. So he's like, oh, wow. So then he wants to still get back into the conversation, the apology that he made to her. And she's like, I don't need it. We good. I'm over it. She was like, trust me, if I was still mad about something, I wouldn't be looking out for you. I wouldn't have still been calling, to get this whole situation done with Heather. I wouldn't be standing here drinking this damn tea and just continuing to talk to you if I was still mad. Like, I'm over it. I'm good. So then he was asking if he could come by the office for lunch, and she's like, I don't know about all of that. And he was like, well, I'm just going to show up and be waiting in the damn lobby. And she was like, okay, well, you could do that. And he was like, yeah, I will do that. We got to get around this, and we got to get on the same page. And, she was saying that she really don't want to bring this into her day or whatever. And he was like, I get it, but I still want to make sure we good. And she was like, yeah, we are good. So, he just was telling her that, he loved her as she's walking away. And it was like she didn't have nothing to say in any reference to any part that she played in any of this. And I was not too happy with that at all, y'all. I'm sorry. I just felt like it was something missing there with that. Now we get to freaking Danni and Q laid up in this bed. And I said, I know Tyler really just don't give a damn about nothing no more, to stick this shit in here and push this down our damn throats, okay? Like anybody wanted it. And then for whatever reason, I mean, you already done slept with him, obviously. She's waking up and peeking, and it's like this whole big thing built in between them. Like if she don't want him touching her, but why did you have him laying in your bed? Why did you have him in your house if you don't want him touching her? So she's telling him he needs to hurry up and get out. And he's like, wow, didn't we enjoy ourselves last night? Didn't we have a good time? Oh, yeah, we did, but that's over. Time to get up, time to get a move on it. You need to get your funky behind in there and take a shower, whatever. And he was like, well, how about we jump in the shower together? Excuse me. And then go to work. And she's like, no, how about you go and then you leave? So he's like, damn, we have a wonderful time. She's talking about, yeah, wonderful, glorious, and all this stuff we did. So he was like, well, okay, I'm not a bad guy. She talking about, oh, but you're a convict. And he's like, damn. So she's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just hurry up and take your shower. And I mean, take it like you in jail and like you in a rush and like you have to hurry up and go. So he's like, all right, whatever. He was like, damn, that's what you do. You just have sex with dudes and kick them out or whatever. So he goes in the bathroom to take a shower when her phone starts ringing. Child, it's Preston, all right? Preston talking about, I wanted to stop by for a minute and talk to you. I'm actually down by the coffee shop, because he asked her, did she go to work yet? And she's like, no, she was about to. She's starting to get ready now. So then her eyes is like this when he say he at the coffee shop. And she's like, oh, no, don't come. I'm sorry. I'm trying to hurry up and get to work. Of course, she don't want him to come there. And see, yet again, she got another damn dude laid up in the freaking bed or in the shower at this point, right? And so he's like, well, see, I did call first. And she was like, yes, thank you. I'm glad you called first. But, you got to be able to take no for no or whatever the case may be. And, see me later. So he's like, okay, I can see you later. And she's like, yeah. So he's like, okay, cool. Supposedly he's going to see her later. So then it's like a knock at the door, but then the person just hurry up and opening the door at the same time, child. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because it sounded like they was about to break the door down. But come to find out it's Sabrina, and she's going, who the hell is this? So Sabrina come running in, of course, all excited, ready to tell her how Bayo's going to be giving her the money. And she's like, oh, my God, girl, he's going to do it. And then Danny's like, do what? Who? So she was like, Bayo, he's going to give me the money to get Maurice out. So she's like, he going to give you $1.5 million? So she's like, yeah. So she's like, wait. And I said, damn, is it smelling funky in there like that? Because Sabrina was smelling them damn sheets and looking around and was like, who's that? Who's here? Wait, who's in your shower? What's going on, right? So she must know it was a damn different smell than Preston usually when he there. And she's trying to busy, get Sabrina out. Like, okay, girl, you know what I'm saying? I'm so happy that he's doing that. Of course, she's asking the questions that we all asking too. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? He's going to put up that kind of money, you know what I'm saying? Who do you know that would do something like that or whatever? And she said, that she had been calling her. She was like, why wasn't you answering? I wanted to tell you about this or whatever. So the next thing she's sniffing, sniffing, sniffing. I said, yes, Sabrina. I said, please let him come the hell out. Let her see him, please, because I'm tired of the shenanigans and I'm tired of Danni not knowing who it is and them never mentioning his name and all of that. And then he come out, so he really did take a 2-second damn shower. And and Sabrina looking like, what the hell? What is wrong with you, Danni? Danni, what the hell? So she's like, why are you yelling at me? And she looking, and we see that for next week, she gonna be like, damn, did you sleep with her? And they both like, no. And of course, she gonna end up finding out that that's the one that robbed the damn bank. And Danni talking about some, wait. Like, Danni, I'm sorry, girl. And I used to like you as a character too, but it's at the point now where it's really like, who the hell is there left to like? Everybody I was liking in the beginning has just been annoying the hell out of me. Andi was never really one of my favorites, but I was able to tolerate her. I actually did like Karen. I did like Danni. I do normally like Fatima and root for her and Zach or whatever. When they got together, I thought that they was okay. Aaron has always been kind of annoying. I was liking Calvin in the beginning. He's kind of annoying. Bayo, I just don't know which damn way you coming from. Gary, I can't stand. Hayden, I can't stand. Robin did piss me off one time, but I like him overall. I like the Preston character. Then they start making him act damn retarded. It's like, where are we going with all of this, y'all? Where the hell are we going with all of this? That's what I need to know. But that was basically Sistas, y'all, okay? Y'all put it in the comments. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Let's discuss it. Anything that I left out, put it down below. We will talk about it down there. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you are so inclined. Of course, subscribe-a-thon is coming down, y'all. Okay, this week I am giving y'all, BMF, the Oval Sisters, Snowfall, Bel Air, Love at the Lockup, BMF, Child, we doing a live on Saturday night. Icons that play historical icons, the autobiography type of movies, whether it be with athletes, musicians, activists, civil rights activists, and all of that different kind of stuff. And Sunday night, baby, we talking about Miss Lady Day herself. Lady Sings the Blues is going down. If you have not seen that movie, you catch up on the movie and then join us for the live, y'all, at 6 o'clock Sunday, And just put it in the comments. Let me know you came by, okay? Put some flames up in the sky. Till next time, y'all. Too.